Hello, everyone, and welcome to another special episode of the Godzilla Roundtable, where we do a special nobody but the Peanuts does. We're doing a Thanksgiving special.
Yay.
And this time, for our fitting movie, well, this time we're doing a movie, we'll be talking about a movie about a giant bird. That bird being an alien bird that shits out antimatter. We're talking about Giant Claw from 1957.
Has anybody ever seen Giant Claw before?
Oh, I watched it as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, Cinemassacre. James Rolfe talks about it a lot too. That's where I first heard of it, actually.
Interesting.
And it was directed by Fred F. Sears.
This movie was quite a trip.
Yeah, it was.
Movie.
This is our first American kaiju movie we'll be talking about, at least in terms of release order. It's our second tonight because we just finished our T98 episode.
Yeah.
For context.
That was an experience.
And well, this movie, like Crash said, is something. So I'll let everyone do their ratings first. Crash, what would you rate it out of 10?
Like 5 out of 10. I don't know.
Okay.
That's like average, you know?
Yeah.
Not like it's, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if it's bad, but it's definitely like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
Yeah, I know, right? Ton?
Yeah, it's a 5.5 out of 10 for me.
Same for me, 5 out of 10. Unanimous. Because here's the thing, like I said last night, is the Giant Claw a good movie? Not necessarily. Is it fun as fuck, though? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Like, it is such a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm
Go
kind
on.
of a sucker for like old pulpy genre movies in general. And Giant Claw, while not like not one of the good ones,
Mm-hmm.
most accounts, it's watchable, you know.
Yeah.
It's not boring.
Yeah. And I think a good place to start with discussion-wise is, what did you guys think of the monster, the titular Giant Claw? Even though technically the name used for her is the law something?
Lickican.
Yeah. There we go. I knew, Crash, you were gonna save my ass with the Spanish.
Wasn't it French? I guess it sounds Spanish.
It sounds
The guy was
Spanish,
French, right?
But the guy was French, which is really funny because the movie ended up being almost like Godzilla 98. We watched it the same night as Godzilla 98, and he had a French guy, a monster laying eggs. This is really funny. But yeah, even though the guy was French, the name sounds Spanish to me, which would line up.
It does.
Which would line up with it being made by a Mexican company. So, anyways, what did you guys think of La Kanye?
She was funny looking. She So she defied all my expectations. I was like, this is gonna be a movie about a big bird, just fucking attacking planes. But then they were like, actually, she's an alien, and she's got antimatter as a force field all over herself. And I was like, what? I was so blown.
You were so confused. You had to clarify. You're like, am I getting this right? I was like, yes, Crash. She is an alien.
That was so funny.
It's so unexpected. It just comes out of nowhere. But Ton, go on.
Yeah. With La Kanye. Yeah. The big bird. No, from the trailers, yeah. From the trailers, I kind of was expecting it to be like, like a big dumb bird monster that fought as big as a battleship.
As big as a battleship.
And like when the movie started, that's kind of what you get, where they set up as like this big UFO. But as the movie went on, I actually found so the concept of the monster in this movie is actually really cool.
Yeah, same.
You have this giant invincible bird that has a force field, and it just eats everything in the sky.
Yeah.
It has all the setup of being a really cool monster, but it has a terrible puppet.
Yeah.
Which just really kind of throws the whole movie off. Puppet is hideous. Like, I love it. It's so bad looking. But if it had a cool design, I think it would have been a lot cooler as a movie.
Hmm.
Wasn't, so we're kind of just left with
It's
Yeah.
just so wacky. Like it's only
Yeah.
eyes in the mouth, and they feel like they were okay. Did they really specify what kind of bird's like supposed to be?
No, it's just a random giant
'Cause
alien bird.
I was thinking like a turkey, but it looks kind of like a buzzard,
Yeah.
and I, in a way, I think the design looks funny, but like
Yeah.
it's
It's
like,
not intended.
but they want it to be scary, right?
Yeah.
It looks,
Yeah.
it just ends up looking really silly.
yeah.
And that's my thing. I really like her conceptually. I like the fact that she's coming to Earth to nest too. I think that's a really cool concept. And I
Mhm.
think if they got it, because originally they wanted to get Ray Harryhausen, who has done plenty of monster stuff, like Seven Ways to Sinbad, Valley of Guanji, Clash of the Titans, Jason the Argonauts. It came from Beneath the Sea, etc., etc. And his stuff is fantastic. If he got to do stop motion, I think this movie would be far better remembered. But unfortunately, he was out of their budget, and he was also busy. So they had to rely on this Mexican company, and they didn't see the finished monster until the premiere of the movie, and it did not work.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it says to me they had to outsource it.
Yeah, and the thing is, when the main actor for this movie, he played Mitch, Mitch's actor. When he first saw it, the theater laughed so hard he left the theater in embarrassment and went home and got drunk.
Damn, that's sad.
Yeah. And it's kind of a shame too because, like I said, conceptually and plot wise, it's wacky, but in a way that fits a '50s monster movie. It reminds me of the Blob crash, which me and you have both watched recently.
Yeah,
Like the concept is kind of out there, but the Blob has good effects, so it works. But the Giant Claw doesn't have good effects, so it just comes off as goofy.
it's like in a monster movie, I think the effects almost make the movie honestly,
Yeah,
because you got to make that monster feel believable.
yeah,
Or at the very least,
yeah,
feel like it fits in that world. But like here, um, one thing if you're gonna have a monster with flight, you got to make sure the neck's not gross and stiff.
yeah.
That
It's
let's
very
tie back
stiff.
to like when they didn't have the budget to do Ghidorah, and Ghidorah would
Yeah,
have a really outstretched, like fucking. What's, I'm not forgetting the word. Stiff as
yeah,
fuck neck, just like outstretched, and it looks really jank. And that's
yeah,
what the giant claw look here looks like.
yeah. She doesn't move much at all.
And okay, and the cry. What the fuck
Oh
is
yeah, her noises. What?
like? And it keeps like clipping into each other, like,
Yeah,
and it doesn't even like they didn't even like edit an animal sound. They had someone record the sound themselves.
yeah.
And it sounds so annoying,
So
right?
funny enough, though, Ton said he recognized Kookaburra noises.
Yeah,
From,
there's
from Giant Claw herself. I'm
Yeah,
calling her Giant Claw now. We're doing a Metroid. Her name is Giant Claw.
yeah. There's a few instances where not her main RAR, but like for sound effects, they have her do a kookaburra
hmm,
laugh as like kind of a cackling noise, and then she makes like crow noises when she's
yeah,
kind of chilling out,
yeah,
which is kind of a cool sound design, but it's
hmm,
just just when it's coming out of that puppet, it's so funny.
yeah, yeah. Walk, walk,
I
walk,
know.
walk.
That's actually a perfect impression, honestly. It's so like it's just so silly. This monster does not feel intimidating, but then like it kills people very easily and eats
I
them.
know, right?
But then it's like monster is just so silly looking.
I know, right? And here's the kind of shame, though. I think the compositing of the shots and like her interacting with other stuff is actually really good. It's just let down by that by the puppet. It's like it's such a shame.
I know.
Yeah, like I was kind of surprised. There's like some scenes where like people parachuting out of their planes and stuff get eaten,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
well, it's kind of this funny crunch noise when they get eaten.
Yeah,
The shots
Oh god.
themselves are actually really good.
yeah.
Yeah, especially
It's just a shame.
yeah, it's the monster itself is just so silly.
Yeah. And that leads us, I feel like, into the characters of this movie.
Mhm.
And they're very 1950s monster movie characters, but they're honestly kind of likable, besides for Mitch being a sexual harasser.
I was gonna say they were very, I guess, progressive. I don't know. The main character was
Yeah,
a scientist.
yeah, because the main female character is a scientist, which is really unique, and she participates in the final act
Yeah,
too.
Mm-hmm.
they didn't just leave her behind.
Yeah, which is really cool. So
So
the
yeah, it's
characters are fun, besides that one element with Go on Crash.
Yeah. I think besides that really dank scene, although I feel like a bunch of '50s movies had that. That was just like
Yeah,
standard, I guess, even though it's kind of fucked now.
yeah,
Besides that, it's like I think the characters were enjoyable. They reacted normally. They did their own thing. They
yeah.
had lots of montages of them like experimenting and
Oh
shit.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, but I feel like this movie is set up with like a trio, but then that guy just like died in that plane crash, and I was kind of
yeah,
surprised, like the pilot guy.
yeah,
'Cause they introduced the three of them. I was like, okay, so this is our main cast.
yeah,
And he's talking with them. He's there for like the first 15 minutes, and then
yeah. And then he dies.
a giant claw. He doesn't even look dead. He's got like soy sauce on his
I
face.
know, right?
And the blood effects were
Which, by the way, the plane crash scene is probably the worst looking scene besides the puppet. It's really funny because the plane looks so fake.
I know. But yeah, it's. I was kind of surprised when they killed him off. But
Hmm.
yeah, then they were pretty cool. I guess they did their thing. I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised. Like it's funny in monster movies, they're like, "I will take full responsibility for this monster now." It's like
Hmm.
I will be the one to let everybody know
Yeah.
because they're
Oh, go on, Crash.
because they're involved with like the antimatter to kill
Yeah.
the.
Yeah. Ton.
Yeah, they kind of remind me the main characters on Mitch and Sally Cadwell.
Hmm.
They're fun. There's definitely the romance is really awkward because it's peak 50s.
Yeah.
They're not unlikable characters. They kind of remind me of the protagonists of Earth versus the Flying Saucer.
Oh, yeah, they do. Which, by the way, was directed by the same director.
Hmm. Yeah, and I feel like they had the main couple in that movie had better dynamics since they're already married.
Yeah.
But I do like how Sally's like a competent character,
Hmm.
and just to kind of like say something, I guess, fresh is that I love the dialogue in this movie.
It is really fun, the dialogue.
Yeah,
And
it's very snippy and full of
Hmm.
50 slangs.
Yeah.
I like
So
when the
When the kids are. Oh, wait, which one?
I think the jet people
Oh,
when
yeah, the Jets. When they're talking. Yeah.
the giant
Yeah.
claw. I'll never call my mother-in-law an old bird like that anymore.
Yeah.
Old bird.
I know, right?
I was like, look
That
at
was so funny.
like they're just fucking getting his neck, making fun of him. Just,
I know, right?
it was really funny. It's
It
probably why
was.
it's colorful
you
teenagers.
Not to mention also the scene with the teenagers.
Oh yeah,
Wh-
and like
Hey,
immediately,
Daniel.
like,
Which is always really funny to me. I remember all the teenagers in '50s movies are the fucking baby boomers, and the fact that that was the generation they were worried about is really funny to me.
Mhm.
it's so annoying and just obnoxious.
I know, right? And then they get fucking eaten. It's so funny.
Yeah, like they're like, see you later. Watch out for the birds. Huh? Like 2 seconds later, the bird just fucking like yeets their car and they go flying.
It really is good. And
It's 100% like, oh no, what about the kids? I hope they're
Mhm.
okay. Like very like yeah,
Yeah, no, right. What's picking up the other funny time though is when the French guy who's like concerned about the legend of Crash, say it again because you can say it good, and he's like now I will die, I'm so scared, and then he ends up helping them later on and he dies, and the people lead just says because oh wow, I guess he was right. It's like he just fucking died and he's so casual about it, and then they steal his car too because they're like well he's not needing it anymore, he's dead.
it's so dang.
I know, right? But speaking of dang funny stuff character wise, then you have the fucking narrator who's like omnipresent. He narrates, which is a thing in a lot of 50s monster movies, but in this one, for some reason, it feels even funnier than usual.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
very jarring.
it's like they felt the need to explain what was going on, like it was an audio drama or something.
Yeah.
But it's just like, thanks. It's like here we see them working effortlessly on the antimatter machine. The three of
I know, right?
failure after failure after failure. It's just like there's like who's talking? Shut up.
What Crash? Was it you or Tony with the joke where if you pull out a bit, you'll see somebody standing there?
I was Tony. And then I
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no,
oh, I think I made it. I don't know. I think we both talked about that because like
yeah,
it's pan out. The guy's just like some guy standing there. The guy's like, "Who
yeah.
are you? You want to help? He's like, you need anything? Yeah, no, I'm okay, thank you."
It's so funny.
I know. It was at random points too. Like it was in the
Yeah,
beginning. It was for like the
yeah,
first 30 minutes. Then he just left. Then he came
yeah,
back for the fucking montage science scene.
yeah. It's really funny. But it kind of adds to its charm, though. I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's so I love silly stuff like
I
that.
know, right? And also, funny enough, it's kind of interesting to me to see it try to go for like a serious tone with like the stakes of stuff, like the fact that they have like global chaos. I think was interesting, even if they don't show it. But it made me think though that Astro Monster did that much better, like like only like 8 years later, about having global panic. Like they tried, but I feel like I said, all the movies did better. But it is interesting that they tried that though.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of interesting.
Hmm
I always appreciate a movie that kind of like has interesting ideas and aspirations, even if
hmm
they don't fully pan out.
Yeah,
Like the scale of this movie is really impressive.
yeah,
They don't entirely sell it,
hmm
and there's a lot of stock footage in this movie.
yeah. There's a lot of stock footage.
Yeah, which doesn't blend in the best, but like they definitely made an effort, and I kind of
Hmm
appreciate the effort they made in this movie.
hmm Like for example, do you have stock footage from Earth versus the Flying Saucers when they destroy Washington D.C. and the monsters attacking New York City? And it's really clear that's not New York City. It's meant to be the Washington Monument falling over.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Where if you've seen Earth versus the Flying Saucers, you catch it instantly. And
Mhm.
speaking of the monster attack, she doesn't really destroy that much stuff in this movie. Ironically, besides her planes, like her big attack is not that long at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah. It also this movie it has that
Hmm
50s monster movie ending where it's just like they defeat the monster and then the movie just ends. Like there's no like wrap up or like
hmm
epilogue. Like
Yeah.
they shot down Giant Claw and they're like, we did it. The world is saved. Finn.
hmm
Like that. And then the movie just ended. I was like, yeah, you did it. I don't feel I wish something a little more
I
happened.
know, but to be honest, though, Chris, I feel like that's an issue with a lot of American 50s monster movies.
Well,
Like, for
because
example,
Blob did the same
yeah, the
thing.
Blob. The Blob
They
same thing. It's like as long as the Arctic doesn't melt, we're good. Then they just show the Blob being like fucking airdropped
at
into the
the
Arctic,
at
and
the
it
end.
ends. Yeah, and like also because Tony, you've seen it. Beast 27 Phantoms has that same issue where it just ends on the Rhedosaurus dead,
hmm
and even earlier with like King Kong, it just ends with Kong dead in the streets. And so that's
At least there they kind of had like a fucking epic speech, sort of. But
yeah.
but yeah, definitely like a thing with like early monster movies, just kind of being like, all right, we
hmm
did it, movie over. You got what
Yeah,
you
and
came
I
for.
guess this is a question for you guys. Do you prefer the American style of monster movies or the Japanese style of monster movies?
I feel like I'd have a biased answer because I haven't seen a lot of American monster movies,
hmm
to be honest.
hmm
Uh, but I mean, I've seen fucking like 20 Godzilla movies now, so obviously I'm just kind of like, yeah, I like the Japanese style. But American monster movie styles are also just so classic. Like that's
Yeah, they have a charm to them. I like both. I'm just curious if you have a preference. It's okay if you don't.
I don't think I have a preference. I have to see more, but like it's hard for me to say that because like American movie, there's such a nostalgic classic feel to them. Like the whole
Yeah,
style, tone, like that's a classic.
yeah, it is. I
But
feel
I
you.
also have a really big appreciation for like the Japanese monster movies did it with
hmm
Godzilla.
Yeah, you that might lessen when we watch Gamera, the show Gamera.
Yeah,
But
okay. Yeah, maybe we'll have to see that. That'll be fun.
yeah. But anyways, ton.
yeah. I I definitely have an appreciation for the American style. It's very iconic. Like
hmm
it's hard to ignore the fact that like you know the American movies came first, so they were kind of like the inspiration.
Inspiration. Yeah.
But I definitely kind of prefer the more in-depth style in Japanese stuff.
hmm
But like Crash, I'm kind of more biased since I've watched way more Japanese stuff. Plus, I'm an anime fan. Um,
hmm
with what I guess with American style giant monster stuff, that's kind of the shame with it
hmm
is that none of these movies are well. I can't say none of them
hmm
because I haven't watched all, but
hmm
all these movies are very competent.
hmm
I guess kind of as an art form, the genre
hmm
never really evolved in America.
Yeah.
It kind of just became a one-note thing, and then it disappeared for a long time.
hmm
And it's like now with the MonsterVerse and stuff, you kind of have this resurgence, but
hmm
it's very much kind of just reviving the old classics. You don't really see original stuff besides from
hmm
like Pacific Rim, but even Pacific Rim's very Japan inspired.
Yeah. And I feel like that's my thing. Like I feel like for example, I feel like Gojira has more to say and has more in mind than a lot of American monster stuff. Not everything, but I feel like Gojira is more focused on the characters, the themes, etc., etc. Whereas I feel like American monster movies were more focused on the spectacle, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like Kong's idea was for a gorilla fighting a Komodo dragon that evolved into a giant gorilla fighting a T Rex. You had Beast from 27 Phantoms, that was the idea of a dinosaur coming ashore. But then Gojira, while it was inspired by that Beast from 20,000's idea, specifically being inspired by the Beast from 20,000 movie itself, I feel like Ishiro Honda brought more to it conceptually, if that makes sense, when he did his rewrite of it
hmm
and added his own World War II and nuclear warfare elements to it that you don't really see in a lot of monster movies. That's not to say like King Kong 33 or Beast for 20,000 Fathoms or like movies like them are lesser. I just don't think they have as big aspirations beyond being fun monster movies. Not that that's a bad thing, but I just personally prefer the Japanese style of more in-depth looks, if that makes sense.
yeah, I do.
But that's just my take.
Okay.
Crash is like, okay.
Okay.
But I will say though, the Blob, just to go on a tangent real quick, the Blob has some really interesting themes though about trusting teenagers more. I will give it that.
I agree. And
hmm
also, it's kind of, I guess it's something to look at with like, I guess a
hmm
modern view, but we
Yeah,
can talk about global warming.
yeah.
As
Oh
long as
yeah.
the ice caps never melt, we're good.
Oh god, that line has not aged well at all.
Oh, they could make a blob too that falls directly off of that and be like, "Oh shit, the ice caps did melt! Fuck!" Like the blob goes back.
That would be a really good sequel. All right. Does anyone have anything else to add about Giant Claw before I wrap us up?
Not really. Except, oh yeah, well yeah, of course, I always have something to say. I don't know, I
Um,
blanked for a sec. Yeah,
mhm,
Giant Claw is definitely a '50s monster movie.
hmm
It's, but it's got that. Despite how dank the special effects are, there's so much charm here. It's just a lot of fun, and
mhm,
like, you'll get a lot of a fun time out of just watching it. You know,
yeah.
it's cool to see dank monster special effects and that classic '50s feel, like classic '50s jank, like ants,
Yeah.
the aliens in space.
Okay, yeah.
Ton?
I I do have one complaint with this movie.
Yeah.
One very
What?
important complaint.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, you spend the whole goddamn movie talking about how this thing is as big as a fucking battleship, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't fight a battleship. There's no battleship in this movie. What the hell?
Yeah.
Waiting
Yeah.
for the battleship. I was waiting for like um the giant claw to like scoop up the battleship and flip it over or something, but no. So
Oh yeah.
somebody please remake this movie, find the license, and have a battleship in it, please.
Oh my god, that would be funny. But yeah, Tom, closing thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. So in seriousness, closing thoughts. Um, Giant Claw's fun. You know, it's not anything deep. It's not like a great movie by any means, but it's
Mm-hmm.
a competent movie for what it is. Like even the puppet, despite how hideous it is, it's
Yeah.
not. The effects for it aren't badly done. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, I always respect a movie that like has ambitions, even if it doesn't make those ambitions. You can tell this is very much trying to it. Like it has the energy of a cash in, but it doesn't feel like a cash in.
Mm-hmm.
So I really respect that.
Yeah. For me, this is movies, like I said, is it good per se? No, not necessarily, but is it really enjoyable and fun, especially if you watch it with people? Yes. Like, this movie's just such a blast. It's got all the wild 50s stuff. It says everything you'd want out of a 50s American monster movie. So I'd really recommend it. It's a good, fun time. And it's not bad, actually. It's pretty okay. It's an
Mm.
average movie, but really fun. All right. So I hope everyone has a safe and happy Thanksgiving, however you choose to celebrate it with friends, family, whatever. From everyone here at Fears, Futures, and Fossils.
hmm Happy Thanksgiving and have yourself a nice giant claw for dinner.
Have a happy, nice Thanksgiving and be safe.
All right, everyone. This was our Thanksgiving special. Thank you for listening. It's a short one, but we figured we'd give you a little treat over the Thanksgiving weekend, especially if you're spending it with family. You might want a break from listening to them. So this was our Thanksgiving special, and thank you for listening. And have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving.